Hi everyone, welcome to my latest beginner game dev vlog. In this episode, I wanted to show the dialogue system that I've created for my game and my personal approach to creating it and any challenges and things I would do better next time. I made this system because I know in future games a dialogue system will be basically mandatory. So I figured a low stakes environment like The Legend of Bingus would be a fun way to add some flavor text to the game, make Orzak the villain have an opportunity to say some funny one liners here and there. Let me show you the system in action. So here's my autumn level. Looking fantastic as always. There's a sign here. You go to the sign, press enter, and you can see we're pulling in the dialogue singleton. It darkens the screen, adds a little box, and displays the text, and it's doing it letter by letter as well. You'll notice there's a little triangle that flips vertically to show that the dialogue is finished. You can see if I go back again, the triangle is facing one way, and a little animation there, and then when it's done, it goes the other way. Hopefully it's clear. Maybe I'll change the shape later on. And that's it. Pretty simple, right? It's actually just as simple as it looks. Now, there's some basic error handling and things going on too. So to start with, I've got the sign is actually on the tile set, but I've just got these little area 2Ds here. And when you go to the script here, it's really simple. We've got a dialog ID exported variable here. So in this case, this is dialog ID 4. And then when we go inside the collision shape, we flag that we're in range of the sign. And then in the process function, if we flagged for being in range of the sign and we press enter, we prepare the dialog with the ID passed in this exported variable here. And then we just remove that we're in sign range to stop us from continuously pressing the enter button. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, there's two components to this. First of all, the most important bit is that there is a dialog script here. What happens is we prepared the dialog, so we're showing the dialog UI. We're doing a quick check to make sure we actually have dialog in the ID that we've been fed. If not, we just display some error text here. Otherwise, we're working with, actually, let me find the, I think it's level underscore D. You can see we're using a, oh, it's hidden. We're using a rich text box here, a rich text label, sorry, and that enables us to use BB code and format things in a slightly nicer way, which I haven't done yet, but I will later on probably. And there's a few things you can actually work with here. If I go back to the script so you can actually see it. Oh, that didn't work. So there's a few things we can control within the label. So we can change how much of the text is shown, and I believe that's like a ratio, and we can just start from 0 and continuously add to that ratio until we get to 1. You could do it that way. So we're doing a few things. First of all, we're getting the actual dialogue information here. We're getting the length of it. So what you can do is you can get the length. You can get, this is an array, so we're just grabbing how many lines are in the dialogue just so we know where we're at. And then that enables us to ascertain when we're at the last one, basically. And then we're just iterating for every line in there. So adding to the cutscene progress. There are other ways to sort of check when we're at the end, but this was the one that made sense to me. It was the simplest solution. And then we do some grab dialog. So we go down to the grab dialog function, and you can see we're just changing the text to the input, which is the iterated array entry there. And then we are checking the maximum amount of letters that sentence or that piece of text is. So you can see that we've got, this could be 10 characters, it could be 20, it could be 30, whatever. And we're just using that as well for later. So visible characters, we're making sure there's none there, and then we start to reveal the text, and you can see visible characters. Oh, we're not, I don't think we're doing it at a ratio, sorry. I can't actually remember if I am or whether I changed it or not. Where's visible characters? Oh, it's here somewhere, but I've closed a load of things recently. So where is it? Markup. I've changed it to a rich text thing recently, and oh, here you go. Visible Visible characters. Oh yeah, you can do it like this. Okay, so I moved away from the ratio concept. That's good. I thought I had. So we know how many characters we have maximum as a maximum, and so we can just add one at a time until we get there. Basically, we make a little pop sound, the total count, and then I don't actually. I can't remember whether this timer actually is working. I think it is. And then once we know we're at the end, so we know that because the total count, well, this is the end of the text, so we're iterating one letter at a time of the text. And then once we know that we've done 10 out of 10 characters, we know we're not typing anymore, and then we wait for input, which is when we're going to wait for the user to press enter to continue the dialogue or close the window if there's none left. So here we go. This originally crashed the game because I realized that if you do a while true and then you're just constantly checking for this, it is checking an infinite amount of times and it just crashes the game. So we don't need to be checking that many times. So we just wait a single frame, then we do a check, then we wait for the next frame, and then we do another check because you don't need to be checking more than once a frame. Even that is probably a little bit excessive, but I couldn't think of a more sensible way to do it. So then, there you go. If we're done, we proceed, and then we break out of this, and then assuming whether there's more to iterate on, this comes back into play. So whether was it grab dialog? No, it is here. So yeah, for line and cutscene. If there is more lines to render, we'll deal with that. Otherwise, we hide the dialog UI and we just wrap up. And you can see we just flag that we viewed the cutscene. Because originally, these dialogues were going to play before the level started. That's why it was its own original scene. And so I needed to flag that the user had watched it once, so then we didn't make them watch it every single time. But I'm not doing that anymore, so this doesn't actually need to be here. But I'll leave it in there for now, just in case I do something with the flag system. And that's how it works. I did this a few days ago, so I just had a burst of inspiration and went for it, so hopefully I've articulated my approach quite well. And it works. Now, whether this is scalable in terms of like a larger game, I'm not sure. But this was originally self-contained to a single scene, and then I decided it needed to be in the entire game called at any point, which is why it's now a global. And I think it actually works really well. So let me show you the dialogue, the database. It's not, let's just close that. It's just a dictionary, so we've got some key value pairs here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can go forever. And within each of those pairs is an array. You can see, so number 1 has an array, and it's just multiple lines in an array. So the dialogue system gets fed this pair, or ID 1, and it will just iterate through each and every line until there's none left. And it works really well. Now, obviously, perhaps for a massive RPG or something like that, this would start to get very cumbersome very, very quickly. And thankfully, that's not what I'm making. But I heard that Undertale's dialogue was just one gigantic switch statement. So actually, in hindsight, maybe this isn't such a bad approach after all. And that's it. I'm really happy with it. I like that, we've got some really basic error handling here. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's because I clicked show here. That's why, to show my little window. And I like how there's error handling there, so it can't find something. You can see there's some squiggly text. That's Godot's built-in BB code functionality. You can do loads of fun things with it, which I thought it's cool that you don't have to code that yourself. That's it. My plan is to... Oh, and also, I can't move Bingus while this is happening. There's a flag, Bingus can move, or whatever it's called, and we just flag that to false during dialogue. That simple. That's it. My plan is to add some signs in every level. I made them signs in a level rather than before the level started because I thought forcing people to just read stuff, most people don't give a shit about that sort of thing. But for people who do fancy a funny, not that I'm particularly hilarious, but there's an option to just read some stuff, right? So it's there if people want it, and you can just ignore it otherwise. Otherwise, I made some small changes to this level, so that's quite fun. I've got some much bigger news on the way. However, I can't share it yet because I want it to be a surprise. But the final level before the last boss is looking very good. But I don't want to show it yet because I want to show it when it's done. But I'm using all sorts of new tricks. Can't wait to share it with you. Let me know what you think of my dialogue system. Unless you think it's shit, in which case, well, you can tell me it's bad, but just please be nice if you can. Right, see you next episode, and thanks for watching.